Hello, everybody. Thank you. I know there are people on the phone. It's just hard to talk to 3 people in front of me, but there should be more. So thank you so much. Sorry for being late. The reason, first of all, I'm here in the room. I've got Mike Buckley from Solidworks. I've also have Monty, and I have Robert. Yes, and I'm actually here, not putting Robert under the spot, but Robert, last time when I was here about 4 months ago in April, he had a lot of good requests, and we had an excellent conversation during the demonstration when I came here to first present SolidWorks PCB and collaboration and why we're doing this. We literally took your request to heart. And I went back, I talked to product manager and product definition. We should have our product manager on the call with us, Josh Moore, and I wanted to take the opportunity to thank him for all the effort he has put in behind the scenes to get all of your requests in 19. So 2019 really is we're revolutionizing the collaboration. We are, in my opinion, I think we really closed the gaps between electrical and mechanical. There's a lot of great information. There's a lot of great features, and all of them, they're based off your feedback. So we did not just go off and say, oh, we're going to give you something, and you guys look about, Angie, this is not really what we wanted. So we really took your feedback to heart, and that's why I'm here. I reached out to Monty and I said, we have 2019, and I think if you allow me to come on site to illustrate the features, I think we have a very good opportunity to even enhance what's going to be coming in 2020 based off, thank you, Robert, for your feedback, because we took those and we make them available to you today. So with that, let's just start with a review. Just for those who attended or those who did not attend last present seminar that I hosted here on campus, it was what's collaboration and what we were trying to solve. So there was few challenges that I highlighted. So we said, okay, we're here primarily to solve the electromechanical disconnect. So we know the mechanical, electrical disciplines, they don't communicate today. I did share, you guys send me a few feedbacks on how you currently collaborate between electrical and mechanical. You said we use a DXF, we use IDF, we sometimes, it's verbal communication, sometimes it's through emails. And I said, if we take Google, Gmail, your Gmail away from your daily activity, pretty much we take away your workflow. So we definitely, and you guys recognize the disconnect and you're aware of it, but you said, okay, it's nice what you've got, but we would like to see more and more. Also, the lack of a modern design workflow. You guys are using Altium Designer. So when I came here, we talked about the MIMO, the medical arm device, and then we said we're looking at this as a product, not anymore just this is my little island and I'm going to only focus on generating a PCB. Every single team member from the different teams will need to have that bigger overview of the product. So we did the same thing on our end, and we're not just offering you a CAD software, but it's a product, it's an experience. It's the entire platform. And then last but not least, we found out that electrical or mechanical, some team members just spend a lot of time on non-role specific tasks. And I'm going to go into more details about what do I mean by non-role specific. We know at the end of the day, we have to generate documentation. The fun part of this whole, when we are engineering, when we are innovating, the fun part is innovate and design. And then when it comes to documenting, like, I don't want to do it, but I have to do it. So how can we automate? How can we make things much more flexible? I don't want to put the term, we're democratizing things, but just maybe with the right perspective, we're making things available for everybody. So whether it's mechanical, electrical, now you have the means to generate outputs, documentation. We still leave the electrical means to generate their outputs, but when it comes to documentation, You really need high-end tools. It takes a lot of time, but how can we streamline this? How can we leverage a lot of the good features that we have from SolidWorks CAD to drive a lot of these documentation from the SolidWorks CAD? So again, the biggest electromechanical disconnect is things today are done through a DXF, a wall. We don't have the seamless collaboration between the teams. So when I was here last time, we talked and I presented and I went in great details talking about what we offer with respect to collaboration. You have it today. It's our 2017-2018 collaboration for Altium Designer, and we also have the SolidWorks PCB platform also for PCB design. So what I demonstrated, and again, it was so exciting, is the fact that we don't rely on any interchange format. So we're doing this seamlessly behind the scenes. You can exchange board outline with a click of a button. You bring in the board outline information. There was some limitation on holes. Also some, the other great features that we had on parts placement and refining placement. We place electronic parts, we push it over to the mechanical, they get to reposition, and then they push it back. Throughout this demonstration, a lot of questions came up, and what I say, it's not quite, it was a limitation, but again, remember, it was the beginning. We wanted feedback. We wanted to see where people want to see the collaboration evolving in the right direction for what you guys, on how you guys would like to use it. So, I'm really happy to be here today. Thank you, Monty, for giving me the opportunity to stand here. It's one of my favorite spots. And we have 2019. 2019 is, we put a different spin on it. We said, we want to give more and more. We want to first close the gap. We recognize, yes, we were aware of, we don't have a complete solution. Board outline is not sufficient. People came back, they said, yeah, it's very nice what you guys had. Even the feedback that I received from the team, it was like, this is very nice, but I want to see more. Is it possible if we can flip parts? Is it possible to see silk screen? Can we see copper? Can you support existing hole wizard? Can you do mirror patterns? And it's like, oh my gosh, a lot of things. And guess what? They're all here available today in 2019. So 2019, again, this is a slide from Josh Moore, our product manager. And again, I can't thank him enough. He's on the call with us. I hope he hears me. 2019 is, again, the mechanical designer experience, as well as enhancing the mechanically oriented workflow between SolidWorks CAD, SolidWorks PCB, and Altium Designer. So what's new in 2019? Yes, you're going to hear me just yesing throughout this whole presentation. Support of multi-contour hole sketches. One of the biggest challenges, and I've heard it from your team, I've heard it from George's team, Verily. They said, okay, we create a lot of holes, and the primary, when we define a sketch for the board, then we place mounting holes. They might have relations, they might have other things that drive. So currently, in 2018, we don't support multi-sketch contour. So what I mean by that, you cannot have multiples contour in the same sketch. Therefore, we don't support hole wizard, pattern, mirror. In 2019, we can. So we do support multi-sketch contour. With that, we do support hole wizard, pattern, mirroring, everything. So that's 2019. Yes. Copper is now coming. Pads, copper. Here where it gets even better. We said, okay, Robert again, he came and he's like, can I see? Well, Ingy, well, sometimes I want to see it just as visual. And I remember his word, visual means, but sometimes I really want to see true. We give you both options. So for visual, purely visualization. Electrical is working as a mechanical. I know they have copper traces going somewhere. They have polygons, they have pads, vias. I just want to see them. So if I'm going to drop a mounting hole, if I'm going to reposition a part, I don't want to come on top of these traces. Can I just see copper? Absolutely. You have one of the two options. You can bring in copper as a decal. So this is on by default. So electrical place copper, you pull from collaboration, copper is going to come in. But guess what? It's not going to have a performance hit on the mechanical side because they're coming in as a decal. Then you say, you know what, we're getting closer to completing the design on the electrical side. I want to start running some simulation. I want to bring in true copper. We bring it to you. We call it dynamic. Again, it's an option. Completely up to the mechanical designer. Copper will always gonna come in as a decal, but you want to model true copper from PCB, top, middle layers, bottom layers, you bring it as what we call dynamic copper. There is a little bit of performance hit. Not a huge performance hit, but remember, now we're taking entire copper from PCB and we're modeling this into the SolidWorks CAD as copper entities. So it's a true copper part. You can open that part, you can see copper, you can see all the sketches. So you can imagine what type of, you know, again, not slowing, not crashing your system, but something just to bear in mind. Let me actually explain one more thing. A lot of industries, depending on their application, they don't allow copper to go on top or bottom layer. So if I am using top and bottom layer, they can come in as a decal or they can come in as a true copper. But if I am defining copper in internal layers, because they don't allow exposed copper on external layers, it must be brought in as a model copper. It's not just going to come in as a decal. So decal only will reflect the top and bottom layers. But if you're not routing any copper on top and bottom and you're doing it only through internal layers, to see it, you bring it through model copper. And it will bring in, you have the choice. Let's say my board is 6 layers board. I only want to bring layer 2 and 3. You have the option to select to model copper on layer 2 and 3. The decal can still come for layer 1 and 6, but model for 2 and 3. Silk screen, mask information, it's coming as well. Everybody asks, okay, Ingi, it's what I called it is plain vanilla. What we have in 18, when I go back to 2018 now and I look at it, I'm like, wow, it was good and I was so excited about it. But now I see 19, it's sophisticated. It's like, wow, we are getting mask, solder mask, we're getting silk screen, we're getting copper. If I open side by side a PCB and the collaborative assembly in SolidWorks CAD and I will hide the name of the platform, you will not be able to guess. And I guarantee you, you will not. We'll show it. I'm going to walk you through all of this. You will not be able to say whether this is Altium Designer or SolidWorks PCB. So we are bringing, again, solder mask information top and bottom. We're bringing silk screen top and bottom to SolidWorks CAD through the collaboration. It's an option. It comes in, but it's an option to turn it on and off. It comes in as a decal like copper for option 1. So again, no performance hit on your end. Okay, that was a request. Today, we can place a component in SolidWorks, in Altium Designer or SolidWorks PCB, we push it over, but if the mechanical decided that he has no components on the bottom, he had to send a note over to the electrical and ask him to flip the part. Now we're giving the mechanical the option to flip components in SolidWorks CAD and push it over to the electrical. So what happens with that on the electrical side, it will flip the component from top layer to the bottom layer. We're not talking about flipping 3D model and you still have to do the extra work. It will take that component, if it was on top layer and the mechanical flipped it to the bottom, it will take the entire footprint with the 3D model, flip it to the bottom layer, will adjust the silk screen, mask information, solder information to the bottom layer. Yes, true board thickness. Why? Because now we bring in solder mask information. That was also one big hit on the mechanical side. In 2018, we don't reflect the entire board thickness, because we don't take in consideration top and bottom mask, solder mask. So what I would say, open up Altium Designer, read your total thickness, and then subtract the top and bottom solder. And that will be the thickness in SolidWorks CAD. Then the mechanical said, well, I still have to add it because I really want that. Yes, we are precise. Yes, we do go up to the 6, decimal points. We need that in exact board thickness from the PCB. Guess what? We're giving it to you today. We model 100% board thickness from PCB in SolidWorks CAD. Yeah, there's a lot of yay. Okay. This one is available today. So we have the placement barrier, what we call the placement, and I think I illustrated this last time I was here. But again, we want to make sure that you guys are aware of it. We can place a 3D insert a 3D part and define it as an envelope in SolidWorks CAD and push it over to the electrical team, and it will come in as a placement barrier. It comes in as a 3D body placed on the PCB, and then it can be used for component clearance checking. I can create it from board edge. If I don't allow any component placement 2 millimeters from the board edge, I can place an envelope in SolidWorks CAD and push it over to the electrical team. Support of component locking. This request came from your counterpart at Verily, George's team. When I was there, they said, does it honor true locking? And we had it working and not really the full through the round trip, completely a round trip true locking mechanism. Now we honor a round trip locking mechanism. And I'm going to show this to you. You lock a part, it's going to be fixed. And then through the round trip, the collaboration, it will still be locked. So I'm going to show this. So now we honor true locking mechanism. Few miscellaneous, what I call the icing on the cake. One of them is the ability to search part. Since now we bring silk screen, we bring in all the copper information, you can imagine you have a lot of data. So you're going to be, if we look at the complete board in SolidWorks CAD with decal for silk, with decal for, yes, you can hide those, but it's nice to be able to see it. Let's say you want to reposition a part. From the filter panel in SolidWorks CAD, you can filter by reference designator. I want to look at J1. I can just type in J1 and it filters everything and it just takes me to J1 in SolidWorks CAD. It is aware of those, even though that silk screen comes in as a decal, but because we append the reference designator at the end of each component in the feature tree, it recognizes this and you can filter by reference designator in SolidWorks CAD. Efficiency. So that was another big one. You're a very large organization. I can imagine once you adopt this, you're going to have tons of projects. So it might be we're going to start defining them by location, maybe by project. I do not know, whatever you guys want. So today you have access to all your projects. So everybody says, even me, when I work today on 2018, I have 50 projects. If I need to find one, I have to go through that list and I have to look for that project. And that's it. I have two boring columns, name and description. Nope. 2019, we brought in name, we brought in date, who created, when it was last modified. Not only that, you can search. So if I'm working on, names are easy, but maybe your nomenclature for projects is project numbers. It's impossible to search through hundreds of projects to just find the project I'm working in. So if my project is 1, 2, 3, 4, I can just type it in the filter. Project 1, 2, 3, 4, bam, filters all the project. This project, I can see who created, when it was last modified, the description. A lot of columns are available to you. If I can, that last one, if I can make it bigger, I would have, because this is really exciting too. I'm sure you guys are aware of Draftsman from Altium, and you are aware of also blueprints. So these are the two sophisticated tools to create documentation for a PCB. We have everything today, like blueprints and and from Altium Draftsman that you can generate from SolidWorks drawing. And I'm talking drill, I'm talking assembly, except for the fabrication and manufacture, Gerber and Gerber files or ODB++, you still generate those from your tool, but I'm talking documentation, because now we bring in silkscreen, we bring in copper, we bring in mask layer, and also there's an option from SolidWorks PCB to generate a drill file. We can bring in all of this information to SolidWorks CAD and generate the most sophisticated drawings and documentation. I can generate assembly. In SolidWorks CAD, we know we have tolerances, we have section view, detailed view, we can insert bill of material, we can insert now layer stack up, we can insert surface finish, I can insert tolerances, notes, all of these, and they're all according to IPC standard. We can generate everything in SolidWorks CAD. What I've done is I took a screenshot from Altium's Draftsman. In Altium's front web page of Draftsman, they show a documentation drawing. So they tell you, here we're going to add some notes. We have a section view. We have detailed view. We have top and bottom assembly. I was able to generate everything you see from that snapshot of Draftsman in SolidWorks CAD with 2019. So we are really streamlining the process. We are trying to leverage everything that we have from SolidWorks CAD to make it available to the electrical and mechanical teams. So now it becomes one workflow instead of having the different workflows. So now the teams really get together on, when I said we don't have a modernized workflow, doesn't mean your workflow is bad, but maybe it's not modernized. Maybe we need to give it another look, how we really can optimize it, how we can augment our workflow. That's what we did with 2019 collaboration. So, Robert, how are you liking it? Okay, ready for a demonstration? Okay, perfect. So I know it's a lot of information. What I've done is I'm gonna go through each of those features one by one, but for sake of timing, I recorded videos to show these demonstration because again, we're still in beta. So I want you guys to understand everything I run in, it was on beta, doesn't mean that we will not have it, just means that we're running on a beta platform. So things were, yes, crashing. I'll admit, I'm always very honest and transparent with you. So things were crashing. That's what I did with the recording. I just took away all of these, extra steps, but pretty much you will get to see what we have in beta. And also I will open up the assembly and the PCB at the end of this demonstration. Will open up and also show it to you in real. So we'll start with the first one was sort and search in SolidWorks PCB. That's what we have today in 2018. So that's, like I said, it's just the two columns, even 2017 or 18. We just have the project name and you have a description. There is nothing else I can do. If I have 100 projects, I have to use my scroll bar to search for my project. Project can be by name, can be by number. We do not know. It's like, again, our customer base is huge, so people just use whatever, but it was just so, like I said, it's not a big deal, but we're adding those small things that really makes you more efficient. Saves you a couple of clicks. Absolutely. If I take it back, you say, no, Angie, bring it back because I love it. That's how the panel looks like. Notice that it will have a description, will have the author, who created the project, created at the date and time, and last modified. And then we have the search criteria over there. So if I type in, just if I know my project starts with Google X12, it's going to filter all the projects and just leave all the projects that have Google X123. So very easy to go in and open up that project and knowing who created, who touched it, and when it was last modified. Yes, copper, traces, pads, polygons, these are all coming in 2019 to SolidWorks CAD. Let's see how beautiful that, oh, can we dim the screen? Can we, is it possible maybe to shut it? I know it's gonna look a little bit better. And maybe can we dim those lights too, Monty? Can you? Perfect. Actually, yeah. Better? Thank you, Mom. You got it. Believe it or not, this screen capture, I'm going to show it to you. It's in Solidworks. Robert, you've asked for copper. They're here. You see your mask. You see vias. You see pads. You see polygons. This is option 1. It comes in as a decal, and then you can see it in the decal tree from Solidworks. So no performance hit on your end. You can. It comes in, you can turn off, you can hide. This is your SolidWorks environment. So we're not really changing anything from your end. These are all the different decals that come in, and you can see top and bottom solder, top and bottom layer. You have the silk screen top and bottom. You can turn on off any decal as needed.
Can you see the internal traces also?
Yes. Option 2. Here it is. And you just missed it earlier when I said, we give it to you. We even took it one step further. He said, you guys asked for copper visualization. Barbara said, well, sometimes I really need copper, not just for visualization. We're going to run some simulation on it. We give you the second option. We said, okay. First option, people said, I care less. I just want to see copper because I might drop a hole. I don't want it to be on top of copper. But I want to bring copper as a part so I can run sim, you start assigning material, and then you can run analysis. Great stuff that Mike has. His background is in ANSYS, right? So he knows what we can do with all of this great stuff. So what we do now, here it is. We bring it. It's an option. Again, we're very careful. When we I always like options. When I go talk to product manager and product, please give it as an option. It's always nice to, do I want to turn it on or turn it off? So the first one as a decal is what we call copper, model copper off. So copper will come in, but it's only going to come in for top and bottom as a decal. I want to see internal layers. I want to be able to get different transparency. I want to look at all of these copper as modeled copper and assign material. Then you're going to bring in, there's an option, pull the project into. Notice that now it's not going to be in a decal. It's going to show on my second screen. It's actually going to come in right there. Is that what you want to see? Last time I was here, I brought this through a pair of solids. No more interchange format. It's not a snapshot of the mold. This is the true design. When it's get pushed from the electrical side, this is how you see it in mechanical. No interchange format, no IDF, no IDX, nothing. The translation or the communication is happening behind the scenes, and we are bringing this true model copper into SolidWorks CAD. You will see top and bottom, also all internal layers. You can change the transparency, and then you can I have a much better view. I'm going to show it to you as I load the tool. We can even dive in and see the via barrel. We can see how it travels into signal layers.
Experience that people just don't do this because of the heaviness of the model. Just breaking the things that you need. Is that what you find that why you don't do it, or?
Yeah, well, some of it's just to see how much work's going to be if I actually up in a hole or something like that. If I need to solder mask removed and things like that. It's usually good to see how much work's involved.
Yes.
Because then I can move things around. That's mostly,
That's exactly what, now, again, as I mentioned, we bring in solder mask. Because all of this information is coming across. So even for you as a mechanical, you can see this information. For copper, like you said, visual, so it's not taxing or putting a hit on my end. Absolutely, you can support. I suppress the part or true copper in SolidWorks CAD, and there is it will extend. Good, because you don't want to suddenly unsuppress the part and then poof, you have like 17 changes waiting for you, and you're like, oh my gosh, where did those came from? So even if you have a suppressed part or a suppressed copper, just I had a conversation this morning with one of our internal technical AE, and I said, you know, give me a scenario, because now we're looking at the suppress and hide. So what is it really suppress and hide, and where would you use it? And he said, no, absolutely, Angie. It's great that if you make changes, even though that my part is suppressed, I still seize it. So even if your part, you decided to suppress all of your caps and resistors, make changes to the caps and resistors, even though that you're suppressed, you're gonna get it's still gonna shuffle and remove, you know, replace them, but those components will still come. They will come.
Okay, so
Absolutely, yes. Because remember, in the feature, when you pull from collaboration, every now layer will be modeled as one part. Like we treat them here, you'll see they're gonna come in each layer. So you have, this is a 4 layers board, top, inner, one, signal 2, 3, and then 4. They come in as a single part. You can say, I only want to bring 2 and 3, or maybe I'm going to bring in all 4, then I'm going to suppress 1 and 3, or 4. You can do whatever you want. You can change transparency in SolidWorks CAD, which is nice because now you can do that. That's what I've been doing, playing with the transparency so I can see it. That would be the best thing to do. Just, yeah, bring them in and then start playing with the transparency, and then it's gonna give you a very, very good, you know, overview without having to, it's like, worry about it. Cool. So since we now can model, bring in, communicate silkscreen, let's say I want to see copper. Again, there are decals, you can come off. If I'm bringing, like I said, silkscreen, copper, mask, they're all going to come in as a decal. Once they come into your decal panel, you can start turning them on and off, and that's exactly what you see. I turned off the top and bottom layer. All I see is just my components. I can bring back decal. I will see the signal layers too with my reference designator and silkscreen. That is it. That's now turning back my decal, so you can see. I can just do it on the left-hand side, unhide, and then I can see my copper, and I can see my traces, I can see my vias, I can see my parts, I can see reference designator.
See the solder mask.
Are you guys happy?
I'm liking to see the solder mask.
Okay. I remember I was here in April, and I said, I took your feedback. I love it to be here. You guys drive us. I'm like, you're my, your kinetic energy comes, and we do things because of you guys. So we want you to be innovative. We want to give you your time back to create those great designs. So we want to try to help. Oh, I love this one. For you, Robert, right there. 62.1. We, and George actually was asking, I'm gonna do the same thing tomorrow at Birdie. 62.1. I know. You guys mechanical, very, very precise and accurate. You go up to the 6 decimal points. We're giving you the true board thickness now. You don't have to add top and bottom solder anymore, because today in 2018, you have to minus. So you look at your thickness of the solder mask top and bottom, and then you have to minus 0.16 from that total thickness, and that will be reflected in SolidWorks CAD. Now, we bring it in, 0.0621 in. You will see it right there, dead on with this thickness from PCB. 20 layers board, 18 layers board, 4 layers board, 2 layers board. You don't have to worry about it mechanical anymore. We model it, we take care of it behind the scenes for you. some icing on the cake, because we bring in reference designator, now the silkscreen information. We've always brought in the reference designator appended to the part in the solid, in the feature tree. You can search parts, components, and it will filter. So I want to look at X1. This board is not too bad, but imagine if your board is made out of 1,000 components with like resistors and cap, maybe 70%, which is almost true. 70% of your boards are caps and resistors. And then you want to just find this crystal or this inductor, but it's high profile, whatever, a connector. You can just filter, use your filter panel, type in the reference designator, and then okay, let's take a look at the video. So I am showing it to you here let me play the video. So that's everything that you've seen. I took the time last week to, I just, believe it or not, I installed Beta 2 last week and I've been working on it, capturing this video. This is, it's not a minion. It's actually called Furby. Solidworks, if you guys heard, Solidworks, our technical teams on mechanical, they had an event last month called Irby. Have you guys heard of it? It's the bicycle, like a, what is it? It's like a
urban mode
scooter.
transportation that you can highly customize.
Yes.
Right. A utility truck.
It's a scooter, right? I think it's a scooter where, yeah, it was really big on at SolidWorks World. Maybe Monty, you've seen it. Our teams were riding it. Yeah. So the team came to me and they said, Angie, sorry for the short notice, but we're really creating this gizmo on top of Irby, and we wanted to have GPS and, you know, sensors and sound. Can you put some, you know, can you create this design for it? And actually, that's Mr. Furby here. So Furby is the gizmo that sits on top of Irby, and it was all done in Solidworks Pcb. Collaboration has been done with my counterpart on the mechanical side, and it started in 18, but I had to recreate the video and my project, everything in 19 to show it to you. So what I've done is I recorded the entire process again that took me months to do in 2018 to have it available for you in 2019 with all of those features. So I'm starting with showing you the complete project in SolidWorks PCB or Altium Designer. This is the PCB side. You can see I have the copper, I have model copper, I have a polygon on the top layer. This is a 4 layers board, as you see from the bottom here. 4 layers board, completed design with parts, with routes, everything. And then I will push it over to the SolidWorks CAD to show you how the copper comes in across. So let's see this guy. Hello. Nope. Nope, no. I never get to play a video here. I do not know. Mani, do you know how to play a video in this? I don't want to interrupt the screen. I want to play this video, but I do not know how I can play it. No.
This is just your.
Yeah, this is the video, but I usually I would press here. Oh, no, this is the next slide.
Making this unit for extending the stern and also going back. Custom.
Let me see.
Slide?
Yeah.
But is it a?
Nope. Sorry. Slide.
There's a video link to your slides.
Yeah, it is there, but I do not know.
Who's a video expert?
How would it just...
Oh, that's right there. It's playing.
But it would have shown something.
It was just
Is
sitting
it
there.
playing? No, it's not doing anything. Yeah, because it definitely it's not just this.
Anybody a video expert?
Are you able to play the file naked?
Yeah, I can't. It's just from my PC, but I do not know which. Mike, can you come for a second? Do you know it's?
It looks like it's running.
Yeah, but
It's,
Oh, it's not wrong.
how do I? You see, I wanted to just see. Here's the video. How do...
Maybe if you leave PowerPoint and grab the file and play it without PowerPoint.
Okay, I see.
You want to try that?
Yeah.
Is it going?
Yeah. Oh, but I wanted to.
It's moving. It's going.
Yeah, it is. But how can I? Because if I say from current slide,
It didn't like it when you were in
see,
presentation
it will
mode.
put it here,
It doesn't like
and
it.
then
when
I can't play it.
bug.
So let me just, maybe bring the
Play it
video.
naked.
Yeah. Okay. I will do that.
Yeah, I bet it will play.
Okay, yeah. Copper, where's the first one?
There you go.
Okay.
Is it running?
Yes. Yes, I just had to play it from outside. So yeah, I will go back to my PowerPoint. So yes, so this is the PCB. So again, the 2D mode, 3D mode, this is collaboration. So I'm typing in, just want to show you with a completed design, everything. I can just push. And then I'm going to go to Solidworks CAD. This is the new feature. I can sort right there. So I even put with Furby name, sorted. You can see it was created by me, date and time last modified. You can see even from the dates last week. Comes in, I can save it. I just saved it internally, but we can save it to PDM, same thing as before. Nothing has changed. That's how it comes in. You can see the difference in color between top, Robert, you can see polygon and then the solder mask. I'm making some measurements. So now measuring, this is 44.2, going back to the layer stack manager in SolidWorks PCB or Altium, it will show 44.2. Here, the decals. So this is your copper model, visual copper. You see each layer came in, top and bottom solder mask, top and bottom layer silk screen. I can now sort by and search by component, LS200. Here's my part highlighted. I will open up the actual project and show it to you, but I wanted to take snapshots of each of those features and then going back to the tool. Okay, sorry, we'll go back to my PowerPoint slide.
It does show plated through hole, right?
Yes. Yep, they come. That one was also a question from you guys last time. Today we can replace a component in the SolidWorks and send it over. Let's say you decided, nope, we don't keep any components on the bottom. I want that component that's on the bottom needs to go on top. Coming back to the electrical, say, please flip that component. Want to flip a component, mechanical, you can flip it. I talked to Robert, I told him not just it's going to take that model, the 3D model in the electrical, it will actually flip the footprint from the bottom layer to the top layer, take care of all the information and in your environment. So you don't have to worry about it's not mapping or leaving information, information behind.
Is this one compatible with SolidWorks 2019?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, you must.
And that makes sense.
That's the thing. You have to be on 29. We don't recommend, for you guys, we can create and hot fixes. That's another partner of you guys. We can create, but we really try to keep recommended to just avoid or eliminate any issues. We recommend to be on 2019 at least, connector 2019 and SolidWorks CAD. For Altium, you can be on 17, 18, and you will just have to install the right. On 18 CAD and 18 CAD, then Altium Designer connector 19. But you can still be on Altium Designer 17 or 18 and use connector 19. Altium doesn't have Altium 19 yet. So this is how it will show in SolidWorks CAD. So you have a component, you're gonna pick it up, you're gonna highlight it, you're gonna go, this one says PCB works, don't worry about the naming, but it will say SolidWorks PCB, and then you will say flip the component, it will flip the component. However, one just tiny thing, it will not flip the reference designator until it's done through a round trip. So, because remember, silk screen and reference, these are all, you're gonna take that connector, for example, G1. I'm gonna move it from bottom to top. The silk screen still in your site is gonna show the bottom until the electrical accepts it. Move, then you push it back to you accept, and then it's gonna and I'm gonna show it in the video. It's gonna correct the solder and the silk screen information, like that change that you've made to that flip component. The true locking, now we honor, is that still the placement change? Let me see. Oh, sorry, this is still placement change. So we're showing like the round trip. So you change it in mechanical, it receives on the electrical side, gets received on the electrical side. You can see placement change. You're gonna accept the change. Then now it's gonna move the component from the, I think it was bottom to top layer. This is very familiar to the electrical guys. This is just the component property of the footprint, and it will flip that component along with solder mask information. This is all one entity in our domain.
The change was initiated on the solid side?
Yes. Yeah, but the silk screen and the mask is not, solder is not going to be reflected until we complete the full round trip. So another video to show this. Let me exit out. So actually, with the video here.
I had that happen the other day.
Okay, so actually with this video, I added one extra thing. We've always supported variants. So I can generate, just for those in the room, I keep moving away from this mic. For those in the room who are not aware of variants, variants is kind of similar but different than configuration. What I mean, similar and different. A variant in the PCB domain is a component that can be installed or not installed, means assembled to the board or not assembled, or it can have a different value. So, but it must maintain the same footprint. So let's say I have a resistor in one application, that resistor can be 10K, in another application it can be 20K, or in one application it can be installed and another cannot be installed. That's what we call a variant, but it has to be the same single reference design. Same PCB, same manufacturer, same fabrication, it's just different in assembly and bill of material. But with respect to Gerbers, NC drill, all of the documentation is the same. So it becomes a little bit tricky because, as you know, we deal a lot with testing and prototyping and production. We can't have jumpers. So with the Furby, I had a configuration when it was for test. I wanted to be able, nobody wants to cut a trace on the board for power to just disconnect and measure things. So most probably the first prototype, you'll have jumpers, 20 jumpers all over the place, and you start plugging them in and maybe disconnect them to test for, you know, your board functionality, and you start plugging in pieces at a time. So in this example, I have a variant for test. I created a variant for test and one for production. It's the jumper installation. I have 3 jumpers in test mode. They're not installed because I want to have that disconnect. And then in production mode, they're all installed. The jumpers must be installed. Variants are communicated to the SolidWorks CAD as a configuration. So in SolidWorks CAD, you're going to have two configurations. One, the default, where is these jumpers are going to be installed for production, and one, they're not installed. Test, those jumpers are not installed. They come in, all this communication is going to be communicated to CAD. But like I said, we even took it one step further because now we can document and generate all of the documentation from SolidWorks CAD, and that was a request from you guys last time. I'll show you how this shows in the documentation. So that's what I've done with the variants, created two variants, pushed them over to SolidWorks CAD, and then created some documentation to show the test and to show the production board. And then you can see the silk and you can see the copper information, and also showing how we flip that components in SolidWorks CAD and push it over. So here I created two variants, and I'm using, again, SolidWorks Pcb and Altium Designer are identical with respect to when it comes to variants creation. So I created the first one, test, and I went to my 3 jumpers and I put them at no fitted. And then I created the other one, which was production. So here in SolidWorks Pcb, we can see the jumper 1, 2, this one and the one to the left. And I changed my variants to the test, and then those jumpers are not there. Change it to production, the jumpers are there. So now I'm going to push this over to the SolidWorks CAD side. So I'm going to say I added the 2 configuration, test and production. So here they come in. I'm going to view the changes. I'm going to accept just these. I didn't want to accept the other 3. So here I have the default and I have the test. Default because production, those are supposed to be installed. The test, it doesn't show them installed. So now I'm going to create a drawing from SolidWorks CAD with all of this information, silk screen, copper information. I can generate all of my documentation in there. Did I flip that part? Yeah, sorry. I'm going to flip the part first and then generate documentation. So here, S1, I'm flipping it. Sorry, S2, S1. I'm flipping S1 to the same side as S2 first before generating documentation. I'm going to push it back and say, you know what? Maybe you want your 2 buttons at the same side, so why do we have to press one button on one side and then the other button? Seriously, electrical, you didn't think of that? When you're having an enclosure on the bottom, how are you going to get to that push button? So now that's exactly what I've done. Oh, okay, here's S1. I'm going to view the change. It's actually detecting the change on S1, shows it wants to bring it to that top side. I'm going to accept the change. Yep. And then now it's, of course, just flagging with the DRC check. It's okay. It switched it. And now I'm going back to look into the going back to the 3D. I'm going to have to do some, adjust the reference designator now, and then reroute the board from bottom to top. Just rerouting those traces. It was done. That via was already there. Boom. Fixes that one. And then I'm going to push it back over. You notice that it cleaned up this area, nothing on the bottom. The solder, the silk screen, everything now is reflected on the 2D, on the electrical side, on top layer. I'm going to push it back and say, you know what? Excellent suggestion. Yes. It's magenta. Yeah, it's just the fuchsia. Yeah, okay. It's still the same color. So now the full round trip will update. You see now the changes. It wants to change placement, not the placement, because now I really changed the reference designator and the sort. Boom, I put that. So now what I'm doing is I'm creating my documentation from the SolidWorks CAD. So I'm putting an isometric view of the PCB. Now I can change the style, and it shows for the default where, actually that one was test. So it shouldn't show, you see how now the documentation, sorry, I went too quick on that one. Back and I'll show it. So here, production, it shows this, you guys can see silk, copper, and I can change all of this information. Silk, copper, I can hide the decal, bring it into the drawing, I can create top and bottom assembly, add my finishes, tolerances, sections, view, everything I want. Okay, let's, whatever you want. Exactly, completely customizable on your end. Sorry, let me go back to my PowerPoint here. So that's the one, documentation. And again, fabrication with respect to Gerbers, NC drill, ODB++, top and bottom, assembly information, bill of materials, everything is available to you on your Altium Designer or Solidworks PCB. What we've done is we leverage the Solidworks drawing capability to include all the electrical or pieces that need it for documentation. This is how it looks in Solidworks CAD. Now, because of all the information that we bring through the collaboration with respect, and you said, can I do single layer? Absolutely, I can do, this is a top assembly drawing, this is a bottom assembly drawing. I just hide my decal for layer for the copper, and I just have my reference designator and component. That will become my top assembly. And not only that, it's not a boring black and white. I can create it in 3D. I can change the display style in SolidWorks CAD to show the model part. And then now I even have more sophisticated views for that top assembly with 3D model. If I want to just leave it blank, the boring black and white, absolutely. If that's what your assembler is used to, absolutely. But again, we want to revolutionize the way you generate your documentation. Again, has to be to your documentation and to your requirements. You can bring in the layer stack manager. So from SolidWorks or Altium Designer, you can generate a report of the layer stack. It comes in an Excel spreadsheet format. You can take a screenshot, or you can insert that table into SolidWorks CAD. Same with the fabrication notes. I can add notes, I can add my balloons, I can add my detailed view, the detail view, section tolerances, surface finish, everything you can generate. I can even, what I've done for copper, for each layer, I brought in copper in just one layer. So I can show top copper, bottom copper. I brought these as a solid copper part. I generated drawing, inserted in a separate sheet. I have my entire documentation, the exact same documentation that takes me days to generate from the electrical side. I can do it now on the mechanical side. You will not be missing any information, I promise you.
You do that in a matter of what, 5 minutes?
Well, it depends now on the mechanicals. This is, for me as an electrical engineer, like I said, we need either blueprints or Altium Designer's Draftsman. If you don't have those two, then you will have to do it manually. How long? A week. Right. I used to subcontract.
As long as you have SolidWorks around it.
Absolutely. Now I'm like, this is, I had Mark Martel on the phone and I said, Mark, how do I add a view? I literally was just jumped. I'm like, this is just buttons in SolidWorks CAD. I told him I want to add this, surface finish. I want to add a tolerance. I want to add the balloon. I want to add a section. And he's like, oh, click here, 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 here. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I automated my most complex view into very, very simple tasks for me as an engineer. Literally 15 minutes, I can generate the most complex documentation.
So that's not what we're really getting across with placement as these tools and using together. Probably normally on the electrical side, you could probably do it faster.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. So again, what we're doing, we're not, one challenge that I had, if you remember my first slide point, I said the non-role specific tasks. That's exactly what I'm talking about. I used to subcontract board, and the guy would put me an invoice. 2 weeks for board design, small board, 2 layers board, 2 weeks for board design, 1 week documentation. I couldn't, yes, it takes that long. He has to generate everything. He has to add all the drawings. He has to give it. It was for, you know, a consumer product, not even medical, not even defense, but 2 weeks design, 1 week documentation. Sure enough, I had to pay. I'm like, we know it's a challenge. It's a lot of work. But if you can bring in all of this, you guys can work now together as a team, deciding, would we let electrical manage it? If he has draft side, can he? Absolutely, you can. And again, if you have draft side blueprints, yes, you can generate all of this. But again, remember, mechanical is where all the different pieces comes together. In SolidWorks CAD, I'll have my main assembly. I have my drawings for my assembly, my parts, my PCB, my electrical side. Everything can be generated. Templates. We're now standardizing on drawings. I'm like, I don't have the same drawing on the PCB side. If you have cables and wires, you can bring all of this here. You can generate your drawings in SolidWorks CAD and have everything in one. I can add as many sheets I want. I can generate another assembly. You package everything. It's your SolidWorks CAD environment.
Does the cover still come in with rigid flex designs?
You guys are always, they have to do something for a challenge, right? Yes. Well, maybe April, maybe 4 months, maybe I'll come in to present that. I would be so excited. I think with this today, you guys can, do you think that would we really close that gap?
Oh, yeah. It's the one of my third time.
Yes.
The evolution of this. A lot better.
That's
Some of the things that we, on the mechanical side, we wanted to see, you know, we get some of those like.
That's, I asked Monty, I'm like, can I come? I told him, I don't think you guys, I'm here for a reason, not definitely wasting your time. I really appreciate it. I want to show you this because I think we're bridging the gap. Yes, there are still some enhancements that we need to work on. Giving you, we are going to be working again, another step, you know, it's going to be another number one. So, huge, yes. The next one is gonna be, I'm like, anything coming 2020, if it's gonna be, if you see me again coming back, I'm gonna come back for flex. That's, if other stuff, maybe I don't need, like I said, I love to be here on site, but most probably enhancing the collaboration, we're gonna be bringing in, you know, fine tuning things as we go and again, enhancing the process. But I really think the biggest item would be 2 things. It's going to be the PDM, SolidWorks PCB, not Altium Designer. It's going to be the SolidWorks PCB integration with PDM and Flex Rigid. So to answer your question, no, not today. Not even from Altium, the collaboration does not understand yet. The Flex product manager, I do not know if we can, Monty, if we can get Josh, I hope he's on the call. He will have much more information on where we're going with this, but today we don't. So let's see which video I want to show. I think it's the last one, the documentation. Yep. Okay, so let me play this video. One moment. So the first part of the video in SolidWorks PCB, we can export. This is available in SolidWorks PCB, the drill symbol. So we can bring in the drill chart into SolidWorks CAD. So again, just a little bit more document on how we can generate documentation. This is like your composite, what we call the composite drawing. In a PCB design, we can bring the composite drawing in SolidWorks. Okay, back to my PowerPoint for the last couple of good locking. So we do honor true locking. As I mentioned, the component comes in fixed, so you can fix a part. Again, a request from George, team, Verily. We want to fix the component. now the component is going to be honored in the SolidWorks through the round trip. So you lock a component in SolidWorks CAD, you push it over, it comes into electrical, you accept the change, and then it will lock the part. So even in PCB, Altium Designer or SolidWorks PCB, you try to move that component, it will tell you, nope, cannot move it, this component is locked. And then you say, oh yeah, that makes sense, even though that usually you will see it, mechanical will not just gonna go and hide lock resist. Most probably mounting holes, if these are parts, if you create a mounting hole as a part, if these are connectors, components, they just lock them down in case, you know, just to make sure that nobody will move them, and then send it to you. Honored, they're going to be locked in your end, and if you try to move them in the PCB side, it will say, nope, cannot do that. Placement barriers, I talked about it last time. I was here, so we can create placement barriers, and maybe you see me in 2 months or wait, again, because we still have keypads. That's one thing that Robert and you guys asked, how do you guys handle keypads? Started with the placement barrier, and George was. We can create an envelope in SolidWorks CAD, insert a part, create it as an envelope. I want 2 mils clearance from the board edge. We communicate this information back to the electrical team. And I think it not in 2019, we didn't really have it because Altium changing the way they're gonna construct keypads. So that's why 20 something that you're seeing the keypads, proper for components, pads, everything that going through. But today, definitely we can handle component barrier placement. That came, that actually came, literally. It came in July, a month ago. And Josh Moore, our product manager, he got us on the call. He's like, I have good news for everybody. When I was here, you guys complained about this. We could not support multi-sketch contour. We could not support hole wizard, pattern mirrors. So
that was Christmas in July.
Yes, he exactly said this. We do. So yes, we do support now. If you create a hole, if you use hole wizard, so the complaint is like, we have a variation of people create holes differently. Hole wizard is a mirror pattern, single sketch, whatever. We do support that. So you create a hole. It says it will not survive the round trip in collaboration, and I'm gonna explain that. We still don't understand features. A hole is a hole. For us, it doesn't matter. For PCB, you get a hole from a wizard, you mirror that. Once that hole is there, the hole is there. So it's, you might have been created through the mirror, it's okay, we'll bring it across, but when it goes back, it's not gonna make a change to your feet. So it's just gonna be like, that's what we mean by it's not. You create it by any means you start in the SolidWorks CAD, it's gonna come to us as just a hole. That's what we mean. It's not, we don't have a recognition of a feature in the SolidWorks. A sketch with a hole, it's a through hole for us, is just a hole on the board. So that's how we manage the holes. But again, you can see today in 2018, we cannot do this. We cannot, if you try to place multiple sketches in the multiple contour in the same sketch, I have different cutouts, I have it just fails. Even if it doesn't have to be whole, if that's just another sketch within your main board sketch, we do support that. So that's I hope we have more, maybe. 2019 is not, that doesn't have the ribbon yet, but Josh keeps surprising me. I have small Christmas gifts in August for me. So hopefully, if more is coming, definitely you guys will be aware of it. But these are the highlights. These are the big features. These are the functionalities that we are bringing into 2019. So I want to open the floor for questions. I hope everybody liked what they saw.
I'm watching the Dory live stream. I don't see any questions.
Okay, perfect. Thank you, Moni, for letting me load.
Missed, because we were late and bailed out, probably.
Yeah, I'll
Barely.
I'll send out another invite. I'll add the invite, because right there, I actually added the community. At the same time, I'll also have this recorded.
How we doing? No way to handle.
Right now, I mean, you're talking about right now with.
Yeah, in current state, yeah.
There's a separation.
I mean, unless they're one man job.
Also, you guys had a.
Swain?
What?
Yeah, Chris Swain.
I don't know if he was able to join or not. I reached out to him, asked him if he was able to.
Oh,
He hasn't gotten back to me. I see that.
how about Josh Moore? Is Josh online?
I didn't see his acceptance of the presentation.
They had back-to-back call.
Yeah.
I was just curious, outside of Google. So, do you have any questions?
Yeah, Chris Swain is, I had him cover another call.
Okay, so I'm loading the tool now just to show you in how it looks in SolidWorks CAD. And then I think if more question comes up with the SolidWorks CAD, and this is, let me just pull, I'm using SolidWorks PCB since I have to test this out. Our platform is also available, so let me close this one here. In about 2 weeks, I think, yes.
I know tomorrow you guys are. We're locked in, but, area that you're doing.
Apologies for not reading your, I know you had the information.
So we had, other than the 4 people that we had here, we also had 6 people. Thank you.
Thank you.
Very